Thank you, Mauricio. It was for me, a beautiful message. You know, before I read the message, I was really having a rough week. And then I remembered Pesach is coming up. And I remembered every time Pesach comes or before the high holidays, it's almost like there's something going on in the heavens. And there's, especially with Pesach, because he wants us to clean the chametz. And, sometimes we think that certain things are healed in our lives. We're better now. We've made it. And then all of a sudden, boom, something happens. We get hit and we think that we're right back to where we were, but we're really not. But your message about the idea that the cortex, which is thought, reason, communication, the things that we have some control over, is a much larger space in our brain than that limbic system, which controls the emotions. Because we'll see something that will spark off a reaction within us and remind us of something that happened recently or in the far past or the recent past. And the emotion just seems to take over. And then, or we have that last system, what you call the reptilian system, which is our instinct, fight or flight. And there's so much stimulation in our society, every news article, the wars that are going on, the constant battles of things around us, that we are so bombarded on a daily basis at all levels, that the idea that this God made us this massive area in our cortex that we can step back and say, no, I'm going to reason with God. I'm going to ask him to help me. I'm going to trust in him. And then I'm going to take the next step to do what I need to do so that all these emotions won't flood me for right now. Let me focus on him. Let me focus in a different area. Let me take control again of my life. And each one of us has our own things that stimulate us. I can give you, I don't know, so many examples of what happened in my life this week. But we all have our own areas that we have to look at that rob us of shalom. God wants us to have perfect shalom in every way we can. The world opposes that in every way it can. When it talked about, when Rab Shaul said, be strong, put on the full armor of God, protect your hearts, protect your thoughts, protect your emotions, put on the armor. Don't allow these things to take over. Yes, it can hit you. And yes, you'll have a momentary relapse, but then you have a choice to change it and turn it around and then take the next step forward. It's a constant spiral upwards. And we must not allow it to be a spiral downward, because that will go to our destruction. So the message was really, really, really important and applicable. And I thought, my goodness, you wrote that in one day. You, in the midst of everything else you're doing, imagine if you had more time to write a message. It was really, really excellent. It was for me anyway. I don't know what other people here think about it, and I would love to get your comments.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much, Mauricio. Your message was so relevant, especially if you're in a state of struggle. I'm constantly, doing what you're saying in terms of our cortex being the section of reason. I just remember something very interesting from many years ago when I took physiology classes, whatever. And there's a thing about the brain. There's a drawing that represents the true nature of our brain, and it's called homunculus. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a drawing of a human being. It looks actually funny. And what you see is the body represented by the truth of the brain's functions. So you'll see a body where the little finger might be as huge as a baseball bat and some other areas tiny, because to move certain areas of your body takes way more space than certain other things. And so your head is huge. So it's a representative of the true nature of our brain. You should look it up. It's funny, but it really shows you how our brain is organized. It's called homunculus. And it's really true what you say. And it's so relevant in our lives and how we even how we suffer. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but there are things, when Rav Shaul said, take all your thoughts captive, because we can take our thoughts captive. We have to be balanced in how we even suffer, as crazy as that sounds, but it's painful, but so relevant. Thank you so much for that.
But different systems are built up. And like, for instance, the psychiatric system. I have a cousin who's been going to a psychiatrist for 50 years. 50 years. And she told me her psychiatrist got sick and she's retiring. I said, Mazel tov, now you can talk to me and I won't charge you anything. I mean, they have to justify the necessity, and they have to almost keep us with all the different names that they give us so that we get stuck in those systems. Oh, this is how you are, and you'll never get out of it because this is who you are. But it's not true. We do have choices, and we have to be careful not to believe everything that they tell us. It's like I said, a doctor could tell two patients, in 6 months, you'll be dead. The one patient who believes it, in 6 months, he'll be dead. The one who doesn't, they'll be fine. We have to not believe everything that we're told, especially today when there's so many lies that are propagated in the world.
Even more than that, we have to not believe what we say. When
Yes.
Rabbi and other people say we are our worst enemy,
Yes.
I am so experiencing that now because I am my worst enemy. And the truth is, one good thing that's happening in the world of psychology is called CBT, or cognitive behavior therapy. And they do recognize that your thoughts are very, very powerful. And nowadays, if you're au courant, let's say, if you go to a psychiatrist, did you say it was your cousin who's going for 50 years? I would tell them, now they try and keep therapy sessions, if you go to the cognitive behavior therapist, down to, 8 times or whatever. So the times really have changed. And in that sense, it's good because they recognize that the power of our thoughts are stronger than anything. They don't usually give a name anymore. You don't go to them and they may say, okay, initially you have this, but we're going to get rid of it. Anyway, just to make a point, even beyond the therapist, we are our worst enemies.
Yes.
And the thoughts we feed ourselves, we have to fight them and say, no, this is a lie. I'm dealing with my brother now, and we've had some really good conversations. And just recently, because he doesn't talk very much, and it's only in the past, I would say, month or two that we're talking more than 2 sentences. And he's so programmed his own mind about who he is that it's such a lie. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I'm telling him, we've got to stop programming our own selves and labeling our own selves, which I really wrestle with.
It's true, Miriam. I've always had, when we grow up, we're given certain beliefs about ourselves. And one of the things that I've always had this insecurity about is my lack of education when it comes to, I did courses in school, but I never got a degree, a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science or a Master's or a PhD. I just didn't do it. And so when I'm surrounded by people who are highly educated, and that happened even last night on the Shabbat, my daughter's mother-in-law, first of all, my daughter has 2 master's degrees. My son-in-law has 2 PhDs. His mother is a doctor, and she was a doctor in her state, public health. They're all highly educated, and I consider myself to be a decent speaker, But when I started to speak last night, it was like it was ridiculous. I couldn't formulate a sentence properly. I was trying too hard to speak because I wanted to look educated. And I had to tell myself that is such a lie. God spoke to the people at Mount Sinai who were slaves. There were no PhDs. They were not. And the God of the universe spoke to them. So who do I think I have to compare myself to? I always think I have to be something other than I am. Instead of, like, there's so often I'll say, well, who am I? And it's just the most difficult thing to answer because we have to, yeah.
No, sorry. Could you just get a pen and write down something that's really funny that you can repeat to them next time?
Yeah.
So one of the famous philosophers, I forget who it was, maybe Thoreau, whatever. He would talk about people who were educated beyond their intelligence.
Yes. Yeah, but you see, the problem isn't them. They're not insecure.
No, I know, but
I'm the one insecure about it, not them.
No, I know, but I'm just, maybe for you to think about it. Education, obviously, you know the facts, has nothing to do with schooling. You've been educated in the school of life. You've done lots of research in your own areas.
Yes.
But I found that a wonderful line, that you're educated beyond your intelligence.
And it has nothing to do with intelligence. Because
no, but what they mean is education doesn't make you know more or
exactly
or have more wisdom than somebody who hasn't even
exactly.
Schooling.
Exactly. I always say that if you take a thief who's a petty thief on the street and you educate him, you're going to have an educated thief.
That's it.
The idea is it's the moral values that are more important.
It's total.
Yeah.
And again, just once more to repeat what Larry King once said, who was a famous talk show and radio host, and he would talk about all sorts of subjects and controversies. One day a caller got on the line and said, "Who do you think you are? You only have a high school education," which he only did have, was a high school education, but very wise and whatever, and educated in life. And his response was, "Oh, but what a high school. What a high school."
What an education. What a high school education. Exactly. Holly, last time you were going to say something and you didn't get a chance. And I'm wondering if you would like to say something now while the going is hot.
Thanks. I don't really have anything to say today. I really appreciate our times together, though, and the messages are always really good.
Okay, well, Isaac wants to speak.
He just wants to watch a show.
Okay, all right, good. Mauricio, thank you. Do you have something more you want to add? I wish we had an automatic translator for Sarai. I'm telling you, it would be so good. She's missing.
May I share a screen? I would like that.
Yes, let me give you a co-host here. Okay.
Sorry. Okay. It's just that I would like to put all this. Okay. I was looking for an image. Okay, because it's easier to see this. Okay. All of this in your brain is the neocortex, which means is that most God gave you the opportunity, and if you can see, there's more space for the capacity of thinking.
Wow.
Then you have the limbic system, which is this one, is in yellow, which is your emotions. Your emotions are protected by your intelligence, okay, as you can see. And then is your reptilian that is is tiny, okay? It's like I'm saying, okay, you don't have to be controlled by your reptilian or your instincts, okay? And sometimes we see people that is like the reptilian system is like the neocortex,
right?
Okay?
Is it the white? Is it the white part or the little black dot?
No, is the white. Is the
okay.
white.
Okay.
Okay. And here there is an interconnection. Obviously, everything is connected in your brain, right? Because it's just one brain. But the problem is that sometimes people start to think. And last week, we were at home, and the president declares by Twitter the state of exemption. I don't know if that sounds good in English,
What does it mean?
but means that the government take out all your rights as citizen. Okay.
No.
Yes. That means that right now I cannot defend myself, for example, before a court, before I don't know, I cannot go freely around the whole country, because last week, and unfortunately, on Saturday, were killed 50 persons here in El Salvador.
Oh,
And all this was because of the gangsters. We call them maras. And then on Friday, they killed 60 persons. And these groups are trying to put to the government, ask for money to be controlled. We could say, yeah, I'm gonna have a very good behavior if you give me money. If you stop to give me money, I will start to kill people. Okay, that's the meaning. Okay, and all the money is just for drugs and alcohol and sex and whatever.
right.
Okay, now the government has some problems because of the economic. It is not really good in El Salvador right now. So they stopped to give them money. Okay, and then they started to kill people. And so the president said, okay, all the citizens in El Salvador will not have more rights. Okay, so we're gonna start to take all these guys to the jail, and they are in living conditions worse than a dog. I mean, they sleep stand up, for example. So it's not human. It is, even though you can say, oh, but this is a gangster. Yes, but he's a human. He's a creation of God. You cannot treat him like that. Okay. And so in our home, there were some friends and some relatives at home making a dinner. And then they saw the fun and saw the state of exemption, that only at war we saw that. Okay. So and then you know, it was something that I never seen people acting out of control. And they start to shout, oh no, it's like war. It's, you know, like a ghost behind them. And then they took the kids and they went speedily to their homes, and they were shouting, they were shaking, and in all the emotions. And I said, look, okay, it's just a Twitter. It's not that. It's something that has to go to the Congress to be approved. Okay, and then they will explain to everybody what is happening. Don't worry, go in peace. But they were so emotionally controlled by their emotions that they couldn't think what they were doing. Okay. So when I saw that, I understood, oh, how is my behavior is controlled by the emotions, my limbic system, or my instinct of self-preservation, which is my reptilian system, or I do really have control and think before acting. That is the design of God. Okay, so how God is trying to make the best for me. So he created, and he made a wonderful design of our brain systems. And then I started to read more about this, and I could understood that people is controlled or is living by the emotions. And when you are living by the emotions or by your instinct, you lost the capacity of thinking. And the Sarat, which is our subject this week, is a parasha, is related to that. People will start to speak without thinking, and you know, it's like shooting everybody, controlled by the emotions, and then suddenly they have Sarat inside of them. Okay, in the cure for the Sarat is to shave him. Okay, is to remove your gaba, your pride, because when you have a lot of pride, you cannot recognize. And I didn't that, and I didn't mention in the message, but it's interesting that the person who had Sarat, he had to shout around all people, unclean, I am unclean. Okay. And I started to think, why God allowed, it's like humiliating that people. Okay. I am unclean. It's like today we can say, I am sick, I am sick, I have COVID, I know, right? But the problem is that what origins the problem is the pride. And just to make you humble, you have to recognize I am unclean. Then you get the formula to be healed. Okay, to recognize your own mistakes, to recognize, to show everybody how I am by shaping the part. So now it's like shaping who I am before others, and recognize who I am really. And when that happens, then God will show mercy and make us better. And you know, the Sarat, it was not a really common disease, I would say, because it's not, okay, take these pills and you will get healed. It didn't work like that. So it was a spiritual disease. And then you can see the Sarat in your house, you can see in your clothes, you can see the Sarat in your skin. So it is more spiritual, okay? And when you read and you have time to read, for example, what happened to Uzziah, you say Uzziah?
Zion.
Yeah, for example, this king becomes very powerful, and the pride just blind him. And he start to enter to the sanctuary and make things that is only permitted or allowed to the Kohen, to the Kohenim. And then he get Sarat. Then you have another example about Naaman, who had a lot of pride. I will not go to the Jordan River to cleanse myself. There are better, in Syria, there are better rivers. And then when he humbled himself and said, okay, I will go to this Jordan, he was healed. And then he recognized there is only one God around over all the gods, okay? And I will follow that God. But Gesi, the servant of Eliseo,
Gehazi, yeah.
Gehazi, yes.
Yeah.
Then he accepted like a bribe, okay?
Right.
And the problem was he hid this thing,
yeah.
the gift, and then all the family and he himself suffer the tzaraat.
Right.
Even Moses, if we read in Shemot, remember when he was at the
In front of the Pharaoh with his hand.
yeah,
His
he
hand in.
put his hand and out the hand and was white.
White.
And then he put again, and then he was healed.
Yeah.
Why? Because he was not recognizing that God could make a great power miracle before the parole. So the problem is it's not about faith, it's about pride.
Right. It's almost, when we think of pride, we think of someone who is very stubborn and pride can come in different forms. I remember when I was a young girl, I always was extremely insecure about my looks, and I wore glasses. I had a big nose, and I always felt really ugly. And I had some older cousins, and we were talking, and they said to me, just take off your glasses. And I refused. Take off your glasses. We want to see how you look. And I refused because I thought if I took out my glasses, they would see my ugly face. And so I held myself in such stubbornness. That severe insecurity is also a pride. It's the opposite specter. The middle is humility. And I think the whole thing about Torah is teaching us to come into balance, not to be perfect, but to come into balance with ourselves. And so we can have peace with ourselves. And it's beautiful. The messages are wonderful. Angel, you look like you're.
Yes, I have lots of things to say, but concerning what you spoke about your when you had your Shabbat supper, dinner with your family, and you have to understand that intelligence is acquired during your life since the moment that you start school, but when you die, that is gone. Okay, what is not gone is this is what makes us so special humans. Okay, I could go deeper and deeper and deeper. Could tell you things that you won't understand because your level of awareness is still, you need to develop a certain understanding of our history as human and humanity, okay, from our creator. Now there is things that it happens that we don't know. We have never nobody thought about us about these things, and we can see it as if you, for example, think about when we were he was talking about our brain, that they divide in specific regions, specific parts, and one they call it reptilian, and nobody has asked themselves the question why you would call reptilian, why you couldn't call it like lion, or why you couldn't call like tiger, or why it has to be like reptilian. So well, this is part of our history that is hidden. Okay, now also it's part of our science, or that has been also influenced, and not everything that we learn from our science it's true, but has been put there, in order to hide a specific truth. But now coming back at what you were, because I go all over the place. Now coming back with your Peggy, what you were saying, it's very important to understand that our gift that God gave us as creation is being made us to his image and likeness, which means we are a fractal of our creator. This is the greatest, and that cannot die. That means that it's put on a body, okay? And this body, it's somehow it has the honor to receive this spirit, this part of our creator that I put on it. Now, when you compare yourself with your family, it doesn't matter how many PhD or they have acquired that by studying, spending a lot of time and learning, process. But when, as I say, when you die, this goes away. You have to restart again, in another period of life. You believe in the reincarnation, and you believe you will restart, and you will need to require again all that stuff. Now, I know some people don't believe in that. It's up to each one. God, the creator, reveals to each one the truth of his creation. And this is part of our awareness on each of one. Now, what it's makes it so special is the soul, is the spirit. And that spirit grows, and that spirit grows, and that spirit develops. This is why when we speak sometimes, people that they are so intellectual and so full of knowledge cannot understand that, because this is a part that they have not developed, which is soul development, it's spirit development. And this can only be when you are close to our creator, when you have a relationship with our creator, when you and him are one. There's things that you are starting to develop of part of a creator. It develops in you, and that includes discerning, that includes understanding things that others don't see it, or seeing things that other people don't see. Okay. And yeah, so it's, can you see the importance, Peggy, now the how blessed we are to being able to see and remember when Yeshua, in his writings also say that, when you are, don't worry about the things of this materialistic illusion that we have created. Okay.
Mhm.
Everything that we are created, and it's all a mere illusion. What is more important is about to work for the things, that are based on the growth of the spirit, growth of the soul, that stays and lives forever. It's eternal. It cannot be, that now. And concerning about the reptilian, every time you were saying the name reptilian, it got me. If you could have a little understanding of what is gene splicing, you will understand a little bit more of what happened to our species. But
What do you mean gene splicing? You mean the scientific, the cutting of the gene, or
it's a very advanced science and knowledge that was used on humanity. But what I want to say is that our focus is understanding that the creator made us, and he put part of him, like a spirit, on us. And this is what we have, and we are humans, and no matter how our bodies, the physical body has been manipulated, it has been changed. Nowadays we are living in times where we're watching these technologies being put on in front of our eyes, like gene therapies that are
right,
coming,
right.
And there are other new things. So it's very important to understand that that what makes us so special is that the creator put a soul on us.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing, as a being, as a part of our creator's creation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think when you were talking, Angel, it came to my mind that also the governments, the marketing, the social media, all these companies knows exactly how our brain works, and they manipulate us just to follow them and to control all our systems, and lost our capacity to think for ourselves. And that the problem is that people start to believe not for their own, as God wants that we do. Okay, God created us as with a capacity of free will to think by ourselves, to with our intelligence, to take decisions, not for what people says, okay, not for we believe that is correct, but for God is saying, or put inside of us to do the best. Okay. Also, I have an opportunity to exercise this yesterday. You know, from several weeks ago, we start to, even on a Tuesday class, an animal just crossed behind me. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And this animal was, we call them taquasin, which is a marsupial in here in this zone of, and this animal is like a big rat, something like that. But it's different. It's very, you know, it's really nice. We,
How do you spell
it
it?
is
What do you call it?
taquasin, which is
Taquasin?
T-A-C, yeah, T-A-C-U, A-Z-I-N, taquasin.
Taquasin.
Yeah, but and also could be spelled like zarigüeya. I don't know if you know what zarigüeya is. But I will look for an image.
Okay.
Okay. So
So what happened?
what happened is that we had to call okay, this is the animal. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. So
It almost looks like a ferret.
yeah, they make
Okay.
a nest inside my home.
Oh,
Okay?
no.
Yeah. So
Are they friendly?
yeah, according to people, they could be, you know, like a dog inside your house. But for me, it's not the kind of animal you want to have in your house.
Okay.
But and then one day I couldn't sleep the whole night because they were like scratching the roof. Okay. And say to Evelyn, hey Evelyn, we have to do something. Call to the zoo or call to the environment guys and ask them to come to help us, because you know people usually try to kill them but for me to kill an animal is not it's not good for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So they came, the firemen came to my home. They removed the ceiling of the roof.
Oh.
And they get the mom with like 6 little animals, okay, at the back, and they just take them away. But at the night, we start to hear again. So some little babies stay at the roof.
Oh.
So and I am very scary about these kind of animals. So yesterday, my wife called me to the job and told me, "Hey Mauricio, look, here is in the dinner room. Here there is this animal, this baby." And
in the dining room.
The dining room, yes.
Oh.
So I just came from work, and you know I had to put some gloves, yeah, because I was so afraid, you know. And I start to say, okay, your neocortex have the control, okay, okay, nor your limbic system, okay. And I start to repeat this to me, okay. And so I took the animal, and you know I was more afraid than the little baby, and put inside a box, okay. And then I go to a veterinarian, and he told me, okay, just let him at a place of Ministry of Environment. So when I went for my kids to the school, we let the animal. So when I started to think about, okay, what do I have to do when I under pressure? Okay, I have to know that I have the control at the end. I can lose myself, okay, in emotions, but you can handle whatever happens. You have the control of your emotions. So this is a very practical way to put this message in practice. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably it's not, probably, I don't know what kind of animals do you have there, but it probably is not an animal, probably it's a person, you have to deal with.
Or a cockroach.
Yeah, I don't know. But you, at the end, the point is you have the control, okay?
Yeah.
You have to control. You have the capacity to think and to take decisions without emotions, and learn to live like that.
Okay? Yes. Yeah. You call someone else to take care of it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I hope they're all gone now.
I don't really know, because
oh my goodness.
Yesterday my wife knew that this baby was there because we have a little French poodle dog, okay?
Oh.
And so when suddenly she saw the Nala, which is the dog, with a baby at the mouth.
Oh.
And that's why she saw that there is this little animal. Okay?
Maybe you need to get a cat.
No, not really. Yeah, but it's just to put the practice.
Yes,
for animals.
Yeah.
Because people sometimes they lose their self in emotion and they kill these animals. Okay?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we all have different stories of how we could apply that message to our lives. And it's important to do that because sometimes we think we have to behave a certain way. We have to be something that we're not. There's just so many levels to this that we can apply. And
I have kind of an opposite example, if I can interrupt you, Peggy.
Yes.
So like we talk a lot about balance, and God created us as a whole being, and he made our brain with the 3 parts, and each has a reason. And for me, I've been learning a lot about thinking and how, our thinking can actually change our feelings. Just for the past year, even I've been learning a lot about that concept, and I really like it. But now in my grief, I find that I try to stay too logical, and it's like, okay, teach me how to grieve properly and show me all the books and all the steps, and I'll write it all down, and I'll just like use my thinking brain to get through this pain. But I can't, and I have to just let myself feel the emotion and cry and take the time to get through it as long as it's going to take. So it's kind of the opposite example. Like there's still an importance to the emotion for this time of life that I'm in now.
Yeah. And both are applicable, because you have to look at what are the thoughts that are coming to you about the whole situation that make you cry, that make you grieve.
Yeah. And I can still, keep my thoughts in check, because like there's no point. It's not helpful for me to cry and just keep asking why and stay stuck on, why. So that's kind of thinking. But my point is, like, I do still have to just feel the sadness and allow myself to cry and feel.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Well, I remember, when my father died and my mom came in, to tell me in the morning, she said, he died of a heart attack in the middle of the night. And I had been up because I don't know, I felt something. I was just walking around and that at that very time. And she said, if only, he was choking, like she thought he was just, I don't know what I can't remember exactly what, but she said, if only I had just pushed him, if only I had just opened the light, if only I had just done this, maybe he would still be alive. And, and she was blaming herself. And I said, when it's somebody's time, it's just somebody's time. And God knows it. And we just have to accept it's not my fault. That's what I had to help her through, because that's what we think, if only I had. And there's so many things that cause our grief. Mina could probably explain it much better because she's been through it so much more often than me. And I didn't feel it. I didn't feel anything when my dad died. I didn't feel anything when my mom died. And I kept thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I feel? And I know with my mom or my dad, it was years later that I was struck with the pain of it. But each of us go through something different. There is no right or wrong way. And that's the hard thing. But if we allow ourselves to wallow in the emotions of whatever it is we're in, that makes it. I remember Yanette. Remember what you?
I think Sarah is a good example for us because she lost her daughter.
Yeah.
He passed. The situation is difficult too. It's not the same than Holly and Matthew, but I think about you, Holly and Matthew, so much. I pray for you, but I know I don't have the word for say nothing. It's only prayer, because I think we live the emotion. Je vais lui dire en español. Tenemos que vivir las emociones.
We need to live through the emotions.
Sí,
To
porque
experience them.
Dios conoce todo.
God knows everything.
Él conoce nuestra emoción, Él conoce nuestro dolor.
He knows our pain. He knows our everything.
El dolor él está ahí y tenemos que llorar.
He's in there with us, and we need to cry.
Yes, the pain is there. We need to cry and cry and cry. Yes, it's good for you and for your family too. It's good.
I was reading, somebody was talking to me about reincarnation, and it's very much in our Orthodox community. And I said that, well, there's nowhere in the Bible that speaks about reincarnation. The only place that I know, and I went to look it up, was when King David and Bathsheba lost their baby. And he mourned for the 7 days of Shiva. And then afterwards, he just washed his face, he cleaned himself up, and he said, okay, the baby won't come to me. I will go to see him again. And then they had relations again, and he had another baby, King Solomon. So everyone has a different way of experiencing that, a death. But we're with you, Holly, no matter what.
Saraí, discúlpame, yo mencioné tu nombre porque estábamos hablándole a Holly porque ella tiene dolor por la partida de su bebé. Entonces le dije que tú también habías perdido tu hija de 20 años. Estaba enferma, yo sé, es otra cosa diferente, pero también pasaste por el dolor de perder un hijo. No hay comparación, pero es doloroso igual. Entonces, ella está pasando por este dolor muy fuerte y está llorando. Y ella pregunta, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué? Solamente Dios lo sabe. God knows everything. God knows this.
How did Sarai deal with her pain?
Sí, de hecho, por favor, me ayuda. La vida empieza así, siendo un bebé y no sabemos los tiempos de Dios y la entiendo perfectamente.
Okay, she said that the life is like that. Nobody knows exactly the time of God, the time that no persons will live.
Esto es un proceso que, aunque uno trate de ser optimista y hacer las cosas para salir adelante,
This is a process that even you want to be very optimistic and try to do things to go ahead.
no es fácil,
It's not easy.
pero algo sí te puedo decir, Jorge.
But something I can tell you, Holly,
El Eterno te entiende muy bien y Él nunca se equivoca en sus
God understands you very well and he never make a mistake.
Yo muchas veces, cuando lloraba, sentía que se paraban mis lágrimas y sentía
Well,
calorcito.
sometimes when I start to tears to make sometimes
cry.
I felt the crying. I just feel that my tears stop, and sometimes I felt like a warm inside of me.
Like a warm feeling.
Yeah, a warm feeling. Yes.
Y también me hice esa pregunta, ¿qué es lo que yo tenía que aprender o por qué me estaba pasando esto?
And also I made this question, why I have to go through this trial or what do I have to learn from this?
Ahora entiendo que quizás tenía que apoyar a otras personas en
Now-
condiciones iguales.
Now I understand that probably I have to help people with some conditions, similar conditions.
He visto personas que han estado con cáncer o con tumores y en verdad siento su dolor y estoy pidiendo y al tanto de esas personas porque sé lo que están pasando.
I have been very close to persons with cancer or with some diseases, and I can comprehend them because I know what they are going through.
Y eso, pues, en cierta forma me dio esa fuerza esa fortaleza de salir en situaciones muy difíciles.
And my experience gave me the strength, enough strength to go for these difficult situations.
Tú llora todo lo que tengas que llorar.
Okay, you have to cry whatever you have to cry.
No detengas ese sentir,
Don't stop that feeling,
porque eso te libera de ese dolor, de esa situación.
because that is released you from that pain, okay, from that situation.
Pero recuerda que el dolor es algo natural.
And the pain is something different. It's really natural.
Pero el sufrimiento es una opción. No permitas que eso entre a tu vida.
But the suffering is an option. Do not allow the suffering goes inside of you.
Porque en el sufrimiento empieza la depresión y salir de ahí es lo peor.
Okay, because in the suffering goes it takes you to depression, and to get out from depression is really hard.
Yeah.
Te mando un abrazo con todo mi amor, Holly.
Okay, I send you a hug with all my love.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to send Yanette there because you've never experienced a hug until you've hugged Yanette. She's like, I call her Mother Earth. Oh. Well, Mauricio, we want to wish you a wonderful trip. You're leaving on Tuesday?
Yes, we're leaving on Tuesday. It's really true. I had to close everything before, like 2 or 3 weeks before the crop is ending. So I had to do a lot of job this week, and everybody was asking me everything, and I said, it's done. And so it was very hard time, but yesterday I was thanking God because, oh God, thank you, because you gave me the opportunity to make this trip. It's a dream come true with all my kids, and God is giving us the opportunity, so we're gonna take the opportunity and have a very good time. I'm gonna send you some photos.
Yes.
And I return on April 23. So
you're going to Disney World? No.
Yes, I'm going to go there and then to Washington.
To Washington.
To New York.
And then you'll come up to Montreal.
The problem is that I need a visa to go to Montreal.
Too bad.
And it's harder to get a visa from Canada than from the United States.
You're kidding. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
the Canadians are so difficult and to get a visa, and especially first I have to leave my passport in another country, which is Guatemala. Okay?
Oh.
Because here they have a consulate, but there is no embassy.
Oh.
And then you have to pay the cost of the visa, which is around 145 or something like that per person. And,
wow.
But besides of that, you have to fill a forms. How so headache.
Crazy.
It's crazy, yes.
There's no freedom. No freedom
Which
whatsoever.
Disneyland are you going to? Florida or California?
California?
Yeah. No, I'm going to Florida.
Oh,
yes,
Florida.
Orlando.
Okay, we'll meet you there then.
Yeah, good.
That would be good, that one day we would have a place where we can go at the beach somewhere. I would choose beach. And we'll all go and meet at the beach all together. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Yeah, yes. Well, anyway, right now we have dictatorships to deal with and the crazy world. And we just keep praying. We'll keep praying for each other. We pray for you to have a very safe and wonderful trip. Come home safely. We need you. And we keep Holly and Matthew and the kids in prayer. Miriam, we keep you in prayer and everybody who needs it. Rhonda's packing.
Miriam.
Hi.
Sorry, Peggy.
Oh, look, you got your flamingo cup. Did you see, Miriam?
See.
Good.
Holly, I just wanted to say how much, I don't know you well, but I really love you. And I've been thinking of the little Benny, and I was remembering when Yeshua was crying himself, when he wept. So there's time for everything, and there's a time for crying. And, if we get too caught up in making a system, we go crazy. It has to be balanced. But Yeshua wept. So.
So now we can practically do some practical things to start cleaning our kitchens from all the yeast. And as we're
And
cleaning
our hearts.
well, as we took the next words out of my mouth, as we're cleaning the kitchens, we're cleaning the chametz from our hearts. And over the years, I've become less religious about it. And thank goodness I don't eat too much bread. So I don't eat bread anywhere in my house. But I remember Rabbi always used to tease us, saying that the Jewish women were the best housewives in the whole world because we cleaned our house only once a year at Passover. But whereas the Gentile women cleaned it all the time. So we're much better. We only do it once. And there I probably have to agree with him because as I get older, I clean less. Maybe because I don't see as well. Anyway.
Let's clean up also our brains from the reptilian thing.
Yes.
And our bodies to be filled with the ruach of our Creator.
Amen. Yes. May he fill us all today and every day. So thanks. Shabbat Shalom. Continue to enjoy the Shabbat. And so we won't see Mauricio for the next 2 weeks. Alejandro, I think you're bringing the message next week. No? Es tuyo? Okay, good. And we'll see you
Love you.
again. Love you all. Everybody.
all.
Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Shavua Tov.
Love
Shabbat
you,
Tov.
Natalie.
Shabbat.
Bye.